This one really surprised me. This is one that I got in a trade. I didn't seek this one out to actively get it, but somebody offered it for a trade, and I was like, yeah, let me check it out, man. But everything from the ergonomics to the grip on it really surprised me. Pretty neat little knife. Y'all check out the full video. What's up, YouTube? Knight's Edge here again. Got a pretty cool little review for you today of a pretty neat little knife, man. This one I got a while back. Didn't get a chance to review it actually, but I was pretty happy to be able to do the review of it today. This one is from a really small knife company out of Colorado. I don't think they're a big name brand or anything like that. Maybe you guys have heard of them. This is the Spyderco MicroJimbo. I don't know why I said mini. Spyderco, of course, not a small company, pretty large knife company out of Golden, Colorado in the US of A, and they are located on the planet Earth, so you're not getting a Martian knife on this one. Actually, an Earth-made knife, which is pretty neat. All right, we'll go ahead and do our normal here. Move the a little bit of the faded blue jeans still on there from the last one. Tip of the blade into the handle, you are looking at a little under 6¼ inches, a little over 6 1/8 right there. Overall blade length, a hair over 2.5 inches if you go all the way back. That ricasso meets up with the handle scale right there, and the cutting edge on this bad boy, I'm wanting to call that 2 3/16 on the cutting edge. So definitely a micro Jimbo, right? All right, so go ahead and do our blade stock thickness, thickest part of the spine. Looking at right there, I have got, if I can get it right, I've got 150 thousandths thickest part of the spine. Full flat grind on this one goes down to, let me get it. I get it in just the right spot. Come on. 27 thousandths behind the edge, so not super duper thin at all behind the edge, surprisingly, because it's a really good slicer. 443 thousandths is what I got right there on the handle thickness on this bad boy. Let's do some size comparisons. We'll keep it all Spyderco here. Let's do our standards for the channel. What I normally compare knives to seems to work out pretty well. That is the Paramilitary 2 and the Spyderco Para 3, so substantially smaller even than the Para 3, with a decent amount less cutting edge than the Para 3. So definitely a micro, right? Let's check this out. Let's see here. That is the Spyderco Shaman. It's my 15V Shaman with the met and boss scales that I got right there. And I couldn't reverse flick that. Still can't reverse flick it, man. What is wrong with me? Oh, there we go. That is the Native 5 Salt. It's a regular Native 5 pretty much. With some Applied Weapons Tech scales there. Native 5 even still a good bit larger than the Micro Jimbo. And of course, Shaman, a good amount larger. Shaman's a full-size knife. Here's another one that's pretty close to it. I think it's going to be close anyway. That is the Little Native. Actually, the Little Native is a little bit shorter overall than the Micro Jimbo. And, pretty close to the same amount of cutting edge, although that is, that's not the same blade shape. That's a Warncliffe. But not too far off from the Little Native, even though the Little Native is a little bit smaller. Last but not least, on size comparisons, we got the Spyderco Yojimbo. Now, this one's heavily modded. Duty's Daggers kind of modded that for me, made it into a Yoshitbo a long time ago. And this one's modded out to the gills, man. I actually won an EDC Mod Mayhem competition with Rochambeau. The Rochambeau put on with this one. Tied for first place, whatever you want to call it. Knife dope. Yeah. So this one is definitely the micro version of this one. Tell right there, even with all the mods. I think that's a pretty decent size comparison right there. We'll go ahead and wrap up size comparisons with the standard on the channel, DeWalt frame and hammer. And you got to have your 8-inch USA made crescent wrench. Of course, got to have them, right? Can't do it without it. Got to have it every time, along with the roll of Scotch tape right there. Get my scale, which I for some reason put way away from me right here. Let's see, what does this bad boy weigh? Ah, man, I would have to, you got G10 handles. It does have liners. I would say, I don't know, 2.8. It's a rough guess out there. Geez, it's closer than I've ever been, I think. So 2.9, still over the ounce and inch ratio, but under 3 ounces. So definitely what I would say is an extremely light knife, suitable for you know, swim trunks or jogging shorts or gym shorts or whatever you want to call them. I kind of yak there while I find my flashlight. You got the liners. The liners are inside of the D10 scales. They don't stick out over it, but they're not, I wouldn't say nested, but underneath where it doesn't grab your finger, your hand, anything like that. No milling on the inside, not really too much needed. Still got a pretty light weight about it, about the knife itself. Let's go ahead and get out the old faded blue jeans here. There we go. The old frayed and faded blue jeans. I got the standard Spyderco wire clip. This is pretty much can be a 5th pocket carry, actually. I actually successfully carried it in the 5th pocket. Got a little bit of the nub of the handle right there sticking up. I like the wire pocket clip. A lot of people hate it. Not the best looking thing in the world, but it is pretty functional, I think. The only complaints I've heard as far as functionality, anyway, about the knife, about the about the wire pocket clip, is I've heard a couple of people say that area right there is a little grabby. I have not experienced that, but definitely have heard that that's a thing. All right, so let's go ahead and do the hardware on this bad boy. I'm thinking T8. Yeah, T8 on the body screws, T8 on the pocket clip screw, and it is ambidextrous, right? So you can take that clip out, and you see the groove cut out on this side. I mean, you can lefty carry it all day long. And I'm thinking T10. Go ahead and verify that. Yeah, T10 on the on that pivot right there. It does have a D-shaped pivot barrel in there, but not a single-sided captive pivot. So pretty easy to take apart, pretty straightforward. It's got the compression lock by Spyderco, which is one of my favorite locking mechanisms. Essentially, as far as functionality goes, I know it's not the same as a liner lock. It's not a top-mounted liner lock. A little bit different the way that tab's made into there, but you can keep your fingers out of the blade path, out of the cutting edge path whenever you close it by simply moving your hand up, squeezing that like you're pinching it, and it'll come down like that. So pretty impressive. Running on washers. Excellent action for a knife that's running on washers. Really impressive to me. Standard kind of Spyderco G10 there on that. Little gritty, little grippy. Not really too much of an issue there. Spyderco's G10's kind of almost always been mid-pack for me, so not anything to write home about, but not terrible at all by any means. Very hard to find aftermarket scales for this one. The designer, you can see right there, is Michael Janich. That is his designer logo, maker's mark. This one is designed to be a self-defense knife, right? So the Yojimbo, this is a micro version of a self-defense knife, I guess. The Yojimbo itself, from the way that the handle kind of swedges down the that end, that kind of thin end right there, to the blade shape, that kind of super aggressive, very, very pointy Wharncliffe right there. Definitely designed for more like a self-defense type of action, but it works really well for draw cut. So if you're laying something out, put your put your finger on top of that slope right there on the spine, and you can kind of lay out stuff like that. Works really well. S30V, CPM S30V on the blade steel on this one. Standard, what Spyderco puts as a standard on most of their steels. Actually, a couple of them, they're switching to S45VN, like the Paramilitary 2 and the Para 3. But Golden, Colorado, Spyderco plant facility, whatever you want to call it, definitely does really good with their S30V. I've cut quite a bit of stuff with this one, and it is still pretty dang sharp. One thing about the Yojimbo, and of course the MicroJimbo as well, is that aggressive pointy end, which is good for self-defense, tends to break off. From what I've seen a lot of people complain about, I have not experienced it yet, but that is one thing, because that the pointy end of that is goes down super thin towards the end. So if you get it stuck in something, kind of trying to get it out, maybe it is possible to kind of break that off without much effort. So overall, pretty solid knife, man. When I got this one, I carried it a lot, a good solid bit for such a small knife. It really surprised the heck out of me. I would love to see this one like a tumbled finish or something like that. I don't think they're going to do that, but I do believe they're coming out with a 15V version of this, if it's not out already, the MicroJimbo. So that's pretty cool. That kind of blade geometry, I think, will do really well in 15V. 15V lasts quite a while as far as edge retention goes. The only downside is the corrosion resistance, which S30V has pretty good corrosion resistance. As far as ergonomics go, I wear a large size glove, have average size hands. You got this nice flat right here. So not your aggressive forward finger twirl like the Paramilitary 2 or the Shaman have on it, but a nice spot to kind of rest your index right there. And my grip on it works just fine four-fingered, got a full four-finger grip on it. I can choke up all the way up on that flat, put my thumb there, and that is just really locked in and really nice. So overall, man, I would say the MicroJimbo, I'm going to put it on my most recommended knives playlist, along with my Made in USA and Spyderco playlist. If you guys want to check those out, do have some playlists set up there on the channel. And again, if you like my content, man, I would really appreciate you guys and gals hit the like button. It's right down there. Subscribe if you want more of it. And until next time, y'all remember, whether it's morning, evening, noon, or night, whenever you're watching this, y'all stay sharp.